Live there.
Yeah, it says connecting, so
We're just waiting for everyone to join. Okay.
it should be good though.
All right, folks. The next session, LinkedIn secrets. Now, we all use LinkedIn extensively. I mean, it's been a way of life now, I think. So I did discuss about Phantom Buster, but Connor here approached me saying he has something better to offer, and even I'm looking forward to listen to it. All the way from US, please, guys, welcome Connor onto the stage. Connor, the stage is yours. And please note, guys, he'll also be here for networking if you want to catch up with him later. All right, the stage is yours, Connor.
Awesome. Thank you, Andreen, and very excited to be here. Thanks for having me, and great connecting with you the other day. Pardon, the cutout of one of our founders here, but he lives a couple states away, so we want him to be here in some instances. But thank you. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to share my screen and kind of go over to a presentation. It's going to be very value packed, right? So even if we don't end up working together, there's tons of value and different knowledge on why, if you're not leveraging LinkedIn, why you should, right? And two, if you are leveraging LinkedIn, some things to get some more value out of it, right? So I have put my Calendly or my meeting link as well in there. So go ahead, click on that, pick some time. Let's connect off of here and get some networking in there as well. But let me go ahead and share my screen. Hop over to share screen. Bear with me as we are going through here. So I think you guys should be able to see my screen at the moment. Awesome. So you can. So we're going to dive into this here, into the LinkedIn Leadflow Secrets, right? How business leaders, entrepreneurs are getting 5 to 7 highly qualified meetings every week from LinkedIn on autopilot, right? So for those folks that aren't using LinkedIn, here's why you should, especially if you're in B2B, right? So there are 722 million people on LinkedIn. And like you see here, that is more than the entire United States population, right? Another reason is, pardon my Slack messages here, but the average annual income of a LinkedIn user, right, is 500 to 600 times higher than any other social platform, right, than all of them combined. And another reason, right, and the last one, I think this one really hits home for me, is of all the B2B leads generated online in 2020 of last year, right, obviously that was a rough year for all of us, but over 80% of them came from LinkedIn. So all other social platforms only combined for about 19.7% of B2B leads, right? So as we go through here, here's a nice quote from Gary Vee as well. LinkedIn is the single most important platform for B2B. Right. So there's 3 parts to LinkedIn into this sales funnel of LinkedIn. The first part that you see on there is knowing and hunting, right? So find your target customer. So is your target customer on LinkedIn, and then how to get in contact with them, right? So once you find your target customer, we need to focus on engaging with that target customer, right? And then where you guys take over, and now, this is on you, how to nurture and close that exact person. Right, so we'll go through some values, packed stuff of the knowing and hunting part, which starts with your profile optimization. Guys, your profile is so important when it comes to LinkedIn. That is the building block where your engagement on your post, where your messaging, everything is going to stem off of that, right? And then it goes into your LinkedIn search, right? So finding that target audience, narrowing it down to the exact people that you want to speak to, and then, obviously engaging with them through a connection, then an introduction message, or a follow-up, right? After that is there, it goes into the nurture and close, right? Now where we step in is typically in that automation period, but we'll talk about that later. But starting on the profile optimization, right, there's really 4 key things when it comes to your profile. You need to have a clear and unique banner. You should have a custom URL in there as a LinkedIn URL. You should have your useful contact information and an eye-catching headline. And we'll start here on the banner. But you can see this, right? It is the most valuable piece of real estate when someone comes to your profile on LinkedIn, right? So you want to have something that they can see your name, why they should, respond back to you, and what value you bring to them in the first 5 seconds of looking at your profile, right? The next thing is this custom URL. So you'll see up in the corner here, for my CROs, it says sales tech coach, right? Because that is what he is. Okay, so you don't want to have it just say your name and a bunch of random numbers. That's boring, but a lot of people don't know how to change that, right? So if you just go to your profile and then you hit edit public profile and URL, you'll be able to change that to whatever you'd like, right? Now, going into the contact information, The contact information is very important. So one, you can reach out to people, they can see how to contact you, as well as prospective clients, right, can see exactly how to get in contact with you and do that in an easy manner, right? Now, eye-catching headline. The headline's very important as well. So you want to make sure that you have some different text on there. So a quick tool that you can use is if you just Google LinkedIn text formatter, right? You can put the text that you want to be formatted into a different, type, or it says top 2 thriving company in there. You can enter that text in there and then change it to, bold or italics or bold italics, and then add in emojis as well, right? You want to stand out when it comes to that. All right, so moving on is we'll head into the LinkedIn search and really filtering it down, right? So within LinkedIn Standard and LinkedIn Premium, right, there's quite a few different ways that you can filter and find your exact audience without having to pay $1,000 a year for Sales Navigator, right? So this is how the typical person would filter. Second, third degree, United States, CEO, right? That's going to pull up a list that is way, 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 way too large for you guys to see any value in that or leverage that list at all. So what you want to do is get a little bit more targeted down, right? So let's add in, young professionals here into that search and use a Boolean type of criteria where we're using and, or not within that to be able to filter and exclude people that we want or don't want in that list, right? So if you guys want to learn a little bit more about Boolean searching as well, go ahead, find some time on my calendar that's in the chat there, and we'll talk over and go over exactly how you guys can leverage this. Right, now the next part, what this looks like when you add in the Boolean filtering, you're going to get about 1,500 results for this specific search. Now 1,500 is way better than 1.5 million, and we can really leverage that list and see value in that, right? So moving through this though, we'll head on to the LinkedIn connection, right? More of the engaging part. So that connection request that goes out, the introduction message, and a partial, follow-up if need be. But here are some prospecting practices to stay away from when you're on LinkedIn, right? So you do not want to be selling right away, okay? I'm a single bachelor here in the United States, and I know if I go up to, a lady at a restaurant or anywhere out there, I can't just get down on a knee right away and propose to her and ask her to marry me, right? She's going to look at me crazy, laugh, and walk away, probably start filming me too. Another way is you don't want to have more than, 5%, pending connection requests if you're sending out connection requests on a daily basis, right? So if they're not accepting, go ahead and withdraw those. Or if you're using an automation platform like Connected, we'll withdraw them for you. Okay, so don't lose track of people either, right? That's another thing that a lot of people do. They connect with folks, they get those accepted connection requests, but then they don't know what to do after that, right? So moving forward though, you do want to have a pattern interrupt, right? You want to have a highly targeted approach like I talked about earlier, and at least 5 points of contact. Right. The other thing is personalize and use video. Only 6% of people in business really leverage video on LinkedIn, emails, and all other platforms. So you want to make sure that you're really hitting on these 4 key components when you are prospecting in LinkedIn. Right now, you want to have some strategic templates with this as well. You want to have a strategic way that you're going through and connecting with people. So you want to have that connection message with that request that goes out, and it's ultra personalized. And you can do that through a tool like ours, or you can do it all manually. Right, and once you get a accepted connection request, you want to respond to that within the kind of 3 plus hours or before 3 hours of acceptance. Right, then introduce yourself. Right, if it's through text, fine, but it's always video, or it's always better to leverage video to introduce yourself so they can put a face to the name and some personality behind the profile. Right now, for the fourth one there is 5 to 7 days later, invite them to move off the platform. Right, so invite them to a Zoom call, invite them to a virtual coffee, whatever that might be, right? And then build excitement, right? So if you still haven't received a response, hit them with a 5th follow-up that's building excitement, use a video, give your 30-second commercial, and re-invite them, right, to meet off of the platform of LinkedIn and into a video or into a meeting with you of some sort, right? Now, moving on here, we'll talk more about the nurture and close, but you can automate this entire process, right? Now, moving into this, these were our frustrations before we, were really connected. So like, everybody kind of touched on before, we were a social marketing agency beforehand, and we noticed that we were wasting time. We were spending way too much money, right? And we were losing deals because we were not automating LinkedIn at all, right? So that led to this idea that was written on a napkin, And this is really the Connected secret sauce, right? This is how Connected was born in a restaurant little over 3 years ago, right? So that led into, exactly what Connected is, and that secret sauce. And so, guys, these are the results that a lot of people are getting from Connected. This is a kind of an average result. So, there's tons of different tools out there, tons of different marketing platforms, but nobody's going to get the results like this, right? No other marketing, email marketing, cold outreach, cold calls, nothing has an open rate of about 41% and a response rate of 42%. Okay, so that is absolutely gigantic. If you guys can, find something that performs like this with those percentages, let me know, right? So these are kind of, some people that we would do work with: Walmart, Allstate, Merrill Lynch, Tony Robbins, MRI Network, Sandler Training. If you look past here, work with tons of people, but it's affordable for the, everyday person as well. Here's some good testimonials that we have, just sliding through here, but I'll open it up for some questions here soon, but I want you guys to think about this, right? If you could have 5 to 7 qualified meetings each week, what's that worth to you over the next year, right? So there's 52 weeks in a year. So take that times 5. We'll do the lower amount. Multiply that by your average close rate, right? So you guys should know your close rates and how. If you meet with 5 people, how many people are you going to close, right? And then multiply that by your average purchase price, okay? That is going to give you the value of what something like Connected would be able to do for you, right? Now, granted, nobody else out there is going to be able to do it like Connected, but that's kind of what it's going to look like. Now, if you're outsourcing this at all, you're kind of looking on the low end of about $250 per appointment, okay? So there's tons of different stuff that we can get into, but it's way, way more expensive to outsource your lead finding and your prospecting than it would be to work with somebody like us or do it on your own. So we'll go into this, but I'm not going to go into this at all in regards to what you get with Connected. Obviously, there's a ton of value, and if you guys want to see more, if you guys want to see the software or see a demo, I'm going to go ahead and put my calendar link in the chat. But that is kind of what I've got. I know we're running up on time here, so. Just wanted to do that. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and feel free to drop them in the chat there as well. And then I do know that we can open this. All right. So yeah, Andorine, I know he touched on HubSpot as well. So if you guys have any questions about HubSpot, we're platinum members or platinum representatives of HubSpot. So feel free to top of my calendar. We can talk about that as well. But again, I'm going to grab my calendar link and put it in the chat here. So please, guys, go ahead, connect with me. Let's talk and get something connected.
So, Connor, I'll start with the first question. So I understand that Connected is a tool, but you are also coming from a service background. So is it kind of a package? Is there a product and is there a service, or is that all part of one package? How does that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's definitely a service involved with that. We really are a great SaaS company. So the service that's there is that it's not just, I know you mentioned Phantom Buster, and there's tons of different tools out there that are, there to help you out. But with them, it's just, hey, here's the tool, and then you guys have to run with it. With us, we take you through a training process, right? We build out that messaging with you because we know what works. So, our average ROI time is right at 41 days. And so that is what our main goal is, to hit that for each and every person. So you guys would go through a 3-week training call with us, right? 3-week training. So week 1 would be like setup and launch. We'd look at your profile, make sure it's optimized, kind of like I talked about earlier. We'd create 2 different campaigns with you. Week 2 is more of an advanced training call because with us, right, when you connect with folks on LinkedIn, you're gathering their data. So you're gathering their first name, their last name, those emails, and it can be integrated into your CRM, and then you can leverage that to retarget them through other marketing channels, right? As well as in week 3, you'll meet back with myself. We'll go over social selling, exactly why that is, why it's so important to really leverage that on LinkedIn and make sure you have that. And that goes back to kind of those, what not to do when you're prospecting on LinkedIn and what to do, right? So it's really a white glove service of getting you guys up and rolling, not just, hey, here's the software, figure it out on your own.
All right. Okay. So I think, looking at the polls, a lot of folks here have HubSpot as their favorite CRM. So I'm guessing the tool also connects with the CRM as well, because with Phantom Buster, I think it's relevant, like what you said. it's a tool we figure out on our own, and that's how essentially it works. Also, quick reminder for folks who just joined and ensure that you've participated in both the polls. That's there as well. I'm also just going to publish one last poll just to collect feedback for the event as well. Quick note again, after this Q&A session is done, we'll still have more time for networking. So head back into the networking lounge where Connor and myself and the rest of the attendees are going to be here to meet more folks as well. So any other quick questions here for Connor, or we can jump in to the back to networking.
Yeah, and feel free to join my table as well. I'm here to answer any questions. But Andreen, to hit on that point, yes, we have a native integration with a lot of the larger CRMs, but specifically HubSpot. We use HubSpot ourselves, so we do have a native integration where all that data and all those contacts would be automatically put into your HubSpot CRM, and then you can run all those sequences and workflows and everything that you guys have built out with them. And also for people that are interested in HubSpot or anything like that, we are able to get discounts on those for you guys because we're a platinum member. So we're not member, but platinum partner with them. So we're like licensed to onboard and train on HubSpot and build that out for you guys as well.
All right. So I also see that from the polls, we have a good mix of B2B marketers, tech professionals, and consultants. So any quick insights that anyone wants to leave here, in terms of the use of LinkedIn prospecting? I mean, has it worked out for you? Do you actually use anything to automate your LinkedIn prospecting? And what Connor shared, looked very interesting. And is that something that anyone here wants to give a try? Or any quick questions for Connor, or we'll jump right back into networking?
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, feel free to grab time on my calendar. I'm super open to network with all of you, get to know you. Even if we can't work together, I'm sure we have some synergies, and I'm sure I have some people I can refer over to a lot of you guys in here. So happy, my network is your network once we're connected. So grab some time on my calendar and let's chat and get to know each other for a little bit.
All right. So Connor, I have one question here from Kevin. Who's asking how many connections are too many on LinkedIn? Tricky one there, but I leave it to you to answer.
Yeah, so really, I mean, you want to have valuable connections, right? So, there's really no limit there. There is a limit on LinkedIn. You can have up to 35,000 connections. But if you're at like 25,000 connections, I would definitely recommend, going through there, seeing who's like actually valuable to you in your network. And if they're not, go ahead and remove them, right? Because but a lot of people aren't gonna run into that. But being a business development manager, Kevin, I would say if you're not getting value out of your connections, or if you're not providing value to them, it's probably not good for them to be in your network, or it's not valuable. But unless you're running it up to 35,000 connections, I wouldn't worry about it. Like I said, I've been working this. I've been using the automation tool. I mean, we eat our own dog food here at Connected, so we use the tool to obviously sell the tool. And I only have 6,000 connections after a few years of doing this, because I'm only targeting my specific audience.
Also, to add into that, Kevin, I'm not sure if that was your question. So LinkedIn, of course, they want us to use Sales Navigator, and they kind of do not encourage automation a lot. So they have a lot of rules. So even if you use Connected or Phantom Buster, one of the key things is that within a free LinkedIn account, you can only send up to 100 invites a week. And if it's premium, it's 150. I think that's where the number is. Connor, correct me if I'm wrong there.
You are correct with that. So there's two different instances, right? So when LinkedIn made that change, it used to be 100 per day, if you guys remember back to that. Right now it is kind of 100 per week if you're on your desktop API, right? If you're making connections through your mobile, there is no limit. So with our automation, we've actually added that to where you guys can, use the mobile API, but still, be able to automate stuff out. And so with that, there's no connection message that goes along with it. It's just the connection request. And those can be sent at 100 per day still, right? Now, if you're not doing that, we want to have the message. Yeah, it's about 100 per week is the maximum there. And so, but we find out what's optimal for your account and send that every day. We have over 16,000 users and customers. Nobody's ever been red flagged or banned or restricted via LinkedIn. And so we make sure to keep your guys', LinkedIn's obviously very, very safe with that. So yeah, I just wanted to touch on that as well, guys. One last piece of value, and Andrew, then I'll be quiet and let you take back over. But groups, guys, groups are so valuable on LinkedIn to get into and message those people within those groups. And that's something that you can do with Connected, like this tool as well, right? So if there's 30,000 people in a networking group, you can get in there and automate those messages out to that group as well.
Brilliant. All right, so I guess that answers your question, Kevin. Again, quick reminder, folks, the last poll around the quality of the content, if you can take that poll as well, this will help us in terms of preparing the content. I think we have one more question again, Connor, before we get back into networking, and that is from Vishnu here, who has said, I have a conversion rate of 25% in LinkedIn, but not getting convertible leads. What would be the reason? It is a very generic questions, but Connor, from your experience, could you probably point out, why that could be the case?
Yeah. So hold on, I'm getting back to. Tracy had a question in the chat as well, so I was just getting back to her real quick. Sorry for the misspelling on heavily there, Tracy. I was typing that quick, but Vishnu, to answer your question there, it comes back to a couple different things, right? And without speaking with you, I wouldn't really know, but maybe it's your profile, right? That has a key aspect to it, right? As well as a conversion rate of 25%, but you're not getting convertible leads. So it also comes down to who we're talking to, who we're targeting, right? Is it the actual exact audience that you want to reach out to? Also with the messaging, right? So if you're getting 25% accepted connection requests on LinkedIn, that's all right. That's really not great. Like mine's at 50 to 55 when it's accepted, but messaging as well. So take back into your day to day. Some of the things I said on the best practices. Don't sell right away, right? Don't be super pushy. Reach out to them, introduce yourself, follow up, and then ask to leave the LinkedIn platform, and then maybe reintroduce yourself or give a 30-second commercial. But it does come down to your messaging a lot, and that's why we take a lot of time and work with you guys on that.
All right, so I think that's point on there. And again, from my own experience, I've seen the same. So if you go out to LinkedIn and you just say that, okay, this is what I'm working on, please come back to me if you need it, you wouldn't get any responses. You have to make it conversational. I mean, people might know it's automation, but at least make it personalized in a way. Get to know them, get to have a conversation, and then pitch your business is what I would say is the key.
Yep, absolutely. The greatest way to think about it, sorry to cut you off there, but just my last piece of advice, the mindset that you really need to have when you're prospecting on LinkedIn is that it's like you're in a networking group. Imagine that you're person to person with them, Vishnu, right? When you meet somebody in person, you're not just gonna vomit everything that you do right onto them and ask if they want to have a meeting, right? You're going to shake your hand, look them in their eye, talk to them, have conversation, build some rapport, and then see what synergies you guys have and if you can connect the dots on anything, right? So that's really the mindset you have to be in, not just, hey, look at me, do you want to buy this, yes or no?
Yeah, I second that. Also, just to reiterate from Connor's point about groups, I have seen that groups within LinkedIn have gone quiet, but what I mostly extensively use is to again get data from the group. So within tools like Connected and Phantom Buster, you can extract profiles of members within the group. It kind of gives you a people, for example, let's say of one persona into one group. So that's where I have used it personally. But Connor seems to say that groups are still active. Then in terms of questions, I don't think we have more questions. We have Isabella, who seems to have a good feedback for us there, Connor. Interesting insights. All right, thank you, Isabella, on that feedback. And please, guys, do answer the polls as well. It's just to understand, the quality of the content. Like I said, the main part of the event is, of course, the content that goes in, and the 50%, of course, is the networking. So ensure that we go back into the launch, get onto one of those tables, say hi to other professionals, and get to know each other. So I guess that's it here. We've answered all the questions that we've had. Connor, again, thanks there for that brilliant presentation and for making time for us today. and I hope it works out for you as well. And of course, we'll continue this conversation into exploring more.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It was great being here, and excited to connect with everybody else in here. Again, grab some time on my calendar. Let's talk.
Brilliant. All right, so let's get back to the networking launch there. Connor and myself, we're all going to be there. So let's take more questions and meet up with the rest of them. All right, everyone, again, thank you and have a good evening, good night. I see a lot of people are from the UK time zone, a lot of them from India, and of course, Connor, you're from the US. So thanks again for making time and being a part of this. Let's get our networking hands on and say hi to the rest of the team. All right, thanks.